Okay, so I feel like there's like a huge industry scamming going on or something. I've been noticing this in Calgary for a long time. And with all these Vietnamese manicure places and stuff like that. I know that some do better job than others, and I don't think all are the same, but I think there's like a big, it's like they make it dirt cheap, but they don't turn anyone away, so they always do a shitty job and they always have an excuse. If they're not cutting you, if they didn't cut you and let you bleed out, they're like doing a really half-assed job and they're rushing. Okay, I took hairdressing, and part of the course at the time was, even in my textbook I have major process and procedure. It's easy to google the process of a pedicure and a manicure. And one, I was taught, but like I know that was like a few years ago, but it's a 10-15 minute soak, because if you don't soak my feet, you can't get rid of it. Doesn't soften, so you can't get rid of the dry skin. If it's not softened, you can't get rid of anything. Like, how do you get, like, you have to soak it. That's the whole point. It's just like having a dish with hard on food on it, lasagna, and not soaking it and thinking you're gonna wash it off. It's not gonna come off, right? You have to soak it. This is just common sense, right? So I go to these places and okay, I'm thinking it's common sense. Tell them what you're expecting, so that way they understand. One, I like it sanitized, so I always check. And they get mad when you ask them if it's sanitized. Why would you get mad if a client says to me, do you use barbicide, or do you clean your combs after each client, or whatever they ask me? Either I say yes or no, and I say no problem. Okay, a clipper I use, I sanitize it in front of client every time, because I want them to see that, listen, this is a bacteria killing thing. I'm not putting it on your skin. And when I do it, I try to be very light handed on the skin. I know it's not the same as doing hair and you're not cutting the skin, but the same thing when you're cutting against the skin and you're using straight razors, or if you're using curling iron, you can still burn people if you're not careful too. So it's still um, working with towards the skin and stuff. So they never soak you. That's the first thing they do. That's the mistake. So she literally did a polish change and charged me 30 something dollars. I'm thinking, that's kind of cheap. But like, literally she was done within 15 minutes, and I was like, and it took like 20 minutes to dry my nail polish, and I'm like, okay, she skip all the steps? She put, because I'm telling her when I walk in, I say, okay, so I'm diabetic, so don't cut too much on the cuticle. So what it is you have an option to just clean up the, like, when you shower and you see the soft skin, you clean up the soft skin or the cuticle that's sticking out. Like if you have a nail on your nail, there's cuticle sticking out. You don't have to cut the entire cuticle off around. You don't have to cut the nail, the surrounding your nail off, which they do all the time because they want to damage it so you can come back all the time. No, it's just like cut the things that's sticking out and that's unsightly. You don't have to cut my ridge of my finger and then say that's part of the process. I know the process. That's not part of the process. So, anyways, I go there and I'm just saying, because it's the first time I'm going there. It's in my neighborhood, so I'm like, okay, so I have diabetes, so don't like cut too much. And all of a sudden, everybody's panicking, and she's thinking that I'm setting her up for trouble, or I'm telling her because I want to start issues. And she, like, the ignorance. I don't know if it's just ignorance or lack of education. I don't know if it's what is it? I don't know if it's the language barrier, because nobody speaks English. They have one person that was translating, and of course, when people translate, they don't always translate right. So, first thing I said is, and this is a criteria, everybody. When you're going, I know that we love cheap shit, and that's why we're always getting infection and crap. When you're going somewhere, one, make sure that somebody understands English and understand what you're asking for, because it's not like a nail thing. Like, sometimes you have special requirements. She's like, oh, and then they're like, oh, I wouldn't even do. I don't know what she misrepresented herself and said to the lady. And she's like, oh, even if I get $100 for pedicure, I wouldn't do a diabetes. Because I'm like, you can promote to diabetes people. And all you have to do is be careful. Don't use a really rough pad, and don't like scrape their skin and be rough. You just be gentle, because I think with diabetes your skin's more sensitive and it doesn't heal as well. So just take, like, there's a regular buffer pad. The brushes that you use, they're like $2. And okay, fine, they don't want to waste $2 on everybody, but there's a way you can even let people, I'm sure if it's if it's people bring their own brush, they can bring a sanitized brush or a brand new brush, sell it to them, and when they come back, they can bring it back and, bleach it or wash it or sanitize it and then bring it back and use it again. I don't know. I still think it's sanitary because it's their own brush and they're using it. It's just like using your own cuticle cutter or your own nail file instead of using somebody else's. I think it's gonna be fine. So I see her and I'm thinking, okay, obviously I don't know if there's a misunderstanding, and I see her. I said, you're not listening. I'm trying to explain to you. I see her going, yeah, 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 yeah. But you see, they're in the hurry mode, like make $30 every 30 minutes or whatever they're thinking. So they're not listening to the fact, like, and I see this all the time. And it's like, if you're not listening to what I'm saying to you, how do you hear? Like, so all I'm saying is don't like overcut my cuticle. If it's sticking out, cut it. And just like, oh, well, she says accidents happen, so she's scared when you told her that, and basically go somewhere else if you don't like how we do things. And I'm like, no, 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 I'm just putting it out there that, like, I just want you to not be too rough because my skin is sensitive, and just be careful when you're cutting, because what they'll do is, a lot of times, what happened, because we have 8 months of winter, is we wear a lot of socks. So what happened is your undergrowth of your toenail extend beyond its regular length. So sometimes they'll just cut without looking. They won't lift up your like feet and look underneath just to make sure it's not your skin under there, and they'll just cut your tip of your skin off. Like, it's like somebody cutting the tip of your nail off because they thought your nail was shorter than it is, but it's your natural nail. I don't know how to explain that. So one thing I said, I said, just be careful for that because my skin grows out. Second, just not too much cutting on the cuticle. To me, that's a normal request. Like, clients come in and they'll sit down for half an hour and tell me all their special things. Especially when somebody doesn't know you, they don't know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So to me, I'm thinking I'm helping, and so it literally took 15 minutes or half an hour, and there was no soaking. So I'm like, okay, so how do you do it? And I'm thinking, okay, what is she doing? She doesn't exfoliate. Like, you don't have on the skin, you saw the white flaky stuff on the skin. All you do is use like a sugar or a scrub and just emulsify it. You don't even need files to file off the top and the sides, because these are like, I don't have extra hard skin. Like, you saw my feet, it was skin, but it wasn't like a overgrowth of like really hard skin and stuff like that. So all you had to do is mostly using the sugar scrub or like a natural scrub and exfoliate the side and top. Like, she didn't even do that. She literally took 1 minute and just like brushed it on and brushed it off. And I'm thinking, okay, so when is that part coming? There was no massaging of the feet. Like, what the fuck? What am I paying for then? There's no massaging of the feet. There was, when she was done, before she painted my nail, I'm like, you can see all the white, when you shower and you can see the white cuticle and the like soft skin just there. And I'm thinking, okay, she saw that my nail, I even told her, I said, my nail was stained. I thought she was just going to use the brush, the buffer and something just to get rid of the staining part. You know how when you take off a nail polish sometimes, she goes, oh, or a nail polish don't do that. I'm like, most nail polish, especially if it's a dark color, will stain your nail bed, right? It's not a bacteria or anything. It'll just stain. So if you use blue, when you wipe it off, you'll still kind of have a residue of blue, or if you use like whatever color, you'll have like a little bit of a residue. She didn't file that. They didn't do anything. She just put nail polish over top of it. And I'm thinking, wouldn't you like do like a quick 5-second, like just to kind of buff it off so you get rid of that kind of stain of the color from before you put another color over top of it? And I don't know, like, everyone's okay with this like kind of treatment. If this is how they do for everybody, and I watch them, it's like 5 minutes. It's like they're doing it in such a they think it's cool to do a 15-minute pedicure. Well, when we went to school and when we got trained, and in all my books, it's you soak for 15 minutes. If she was soaking me for 15 minutes, she could have gotten another client started by getting the client set up, getting the client in the chair, cut the client's nail, remove the polish, and soak her. So that 10 minutes she took that I could be soaking, let's say 10 minutes, because I know they're not going to do 15 minutes. That could have gotten a chance to get another client in and cut their nails, do all that stuff. So to me, it's like me, all right, saying, okay, I have a color, right? And you know how we do, like how stylists book is, we book, like if we have a a color that's going to process for 35 minutes. We'll book a haircut in there, or a man's haircut, or something we know that will take that time, right? For example, if my client's going to be under the dryer for 15 minutes, I'll get my client started. I'll section her off. I won't necessarily start the process because I can't stop certain chemical process, but I'll get them prepped. I'll have them towel ready. I'll get their coffee while my client's under the other clients under the dryer, and then I'll section their hair, get the foils ready, and get them ready. So when my client's out from the dryer, I'll probably quickly blow dry or put the deep conditioner, detangle her, put her under the dryer to dry a little, get the moisture out, and then apply the color or whatever I'm doing, and then go back to the other client. To me, if you have it organized, but the thing is, because they're so greedy, they want to take everybody. Like, I see her and she's like, oh, somebody's calling, and they're like, can I come in at 2:30? And then she's like, she has already 3 clients for 2:30, and she's like, oh, okay, like, kind of thing. And I'm like, well, can't you tell them to come at like 4? But I guess you probably had somebody at 4. But because they're trying to do it in such a way, like a factory way, they're not patient, and they're not. I'm not saying that they're gonna take an hour for everybody or 2 hours or whatever, but at least do it in a way where it flows. Like, you're sitting there and she's getting very upset, and I'm thinking, what the fuck did I do? I just legit said somebody was asking me what I did, because if I was from Calgary, because I had a suitcase, and I said, no, I'm a hairdresser. I went and did somebody's hair for a wedding. But this woman was like, oh, I went to Marvel. I know hair is not the same thing. I don't want to get in trouble. Basically she don't want to get sued, because she thinks by me telling her that to be careful is that I'm trying to like, I don't know what she thought I was trying to do. But to me, I'm like, okay, I'm new to you. You don't know me. This is what I have as an issue. I'm diabetic, so not too much cutting, because if you cut too much, you can cut me. So just nothing was done. Like, she was like, well, we use this, and she shows me this thing, and in the end, she's still upset at me, and I could see her shaking her voice, and I'm thinking, holy shit, just by asking for something that I pissed somebody off. So she shows me this file, and she said, you don't understand, this file is sharp, this is what we use. I'm thinking, why do you use this little file? Like, she used these probably because they're like literally a penny each, and they're cheap. That's how they do. And they're just cheap at these Vietnamese or whatever salon. You can use another thing. The other things are like $1 something each. And yeah, okay, fine, you don't want to spend $1 on a client that you're charging $35 on, whatever. But she's like, oh, it's so sharp. No, if you wet this, it's not as sharp. And if you're gentle with it, you can get rid of exfoliant. You can exfoliate without cutting a person. She said, oh, some people, they're so sensitive, they bleed. And I'm like, this is not all of that. I'm not telling you all of that, I'm so sensitive, I'm so cut. You can look at my skin and see that I do have enough that you can exfoliate. How do I leave a salon and feel like I didn't get anything done? What did I just throw away my freaking $30 for? I might as well. If I want somebody that does a bad job, I can at least go to the schools, and I know at least they're learning, so I have a sympathy. But even the school, I check, $35. What the fuck? You're charging $35. If a professional person charged $45 to $50 for a pedicure, why do you as a student charge $35 for a pedicure? What the hell? What does that include? Of course, I have to see their job, and I'm going to go test it. If I see their job, they do a good job, and they include, the 10-minute massage. Like you're supposed to do, I think it was 10 minutes soak, 10-minute massage, and 10-minute of, file and stuff like that. So that's 30 minutes. And then you can put on the color and stuff. And I think it's 10, I don't remember how they taught us. I think it was 10 minutes soak, 10-minute cleaning and filing. And what was it? I think they taught us 45 minutes anyways. But even if you want to shorten the time, you could say at least soak for freaking 5 minutes. Like, you don't soak me, and then you're gonna, of course that's when it's gonna hurt. But no, this is the big deal. She said it's dangerous and it's very sharp, and that's why, because she didn't do anything for me because I scared her. I'm like, so if I scared you because I told you I'm diabetic, and you just to be a little gentle, you mean you couldn't even use this at all but just be gentle? Like, I can rub it on my skin. I understand it's a little rough, But once it's wet, it's not that rough. And you can be gentle. You don't have to. I'm not saying don't do anything. So you just skip all the step, but still charge me the same price? What the hell? It's a scam, and I really think it's very scammy and rude. And then they all act like they don't speak English, but it's funny how they speak English when it's come to be like 30 something dollars, and when they're trying to tell you the price, they sure speak English then. I do not know why people act like that when it like with people and in business. Basically, she was like, and I feel like just going back there just to be annoying, and she was like, oh, she's like, oh, I prefer if you go somewhere else. So you're going to turn me down because I'm diabetic? Like, you're going to turn me down because you don't want to do diabetic people? Or you're so scared? Like, like that's like prejudice. That's like saying, I don't want to do you because you're handicapped. You know what I mean? So, do you really want that problem? And I might even challenge it. I might go back and say, you can't turn me down because I'm diabetic. You just have to be freaking careful. So I said to her, the girl, and oh God, people just take things. This is why you can't talk to people that are ignorant, because they take them the wrong way. I said, do you understand the difference between a diabetic pedicure, right? Like, and she was like, eh, and you could just tell she wasn't listening. Her mind was somewhere else. And then I was like, excuse me? And she's like, oh, I said, oh no, like it's just slightly different. And I said, you should Google it. You should look it up, And to me, like, that's normal. Like if somebody's explained something to me, like if a client explained something to me and I've never heard of it or stuff like that, I would Google it. I would look it up and I'd be like, oh, okay, let's see what they're saying is the difference. What is the difference? It's not anything dramatic, like, I don't think. But now I just spend money and I walked out looking the same, and you're going to tell me, oh, because I scared you? So if I scared you so much, why did you charge me then? For a polish change. So I just paid 30 fucking something dollars for a polish change. I barely got, there was no, like, my feet, like my toes looked so dirty when she was done. Before she put, of course you can use the nail polish to hide your bad job. But when I looked at my feet, I was like, it looked like how I went in. So yeah, this is my rant for the day. And I think it's bogus that they're being able to get away with this. And I'm not even going to edit this because I don't care.